Okay, here's our second problem. So these are two things that are multiplied together. We have 5 root 10 times root 8. And actually, it's three things. We have 5 times root 10 times root 8. Multiplication I can put in any order, so I'm just making sure that the things that are similar group. So 5 is really going to be by itself, but because these two things are under the square root and they're multiplied, I can multiply them together. And so I get 5 root 80. Now, 80 is a pretty big number. It's also even, and oftentimes those are able to be simplified. I also know 80 has an 8 in it, which also has a 4, which is a perfect square. My hope is there are going to be some bigger ones, but we can start with that. So if I look at 80, and I'm going to ignore the 5 for a moment, I know 80 breaks down into 10 and 8. I know 10 breaks down into 5 and 2. And I know 8 breaks down into 2 and 4. 5 can't break down anymore, 2 can't break down anymore, and 2 can't break down anymore, but 4 can. 2 and 2. I'm going to bring everything else down. And remember, all of this is still under the square root and it's still multiplied. So I'm going to get my circle, I'm going to get my pairs. And what I'm left with is root 4, this one, times root 4, this one, times 5. Well, this then simplifies to root 4 times root 4 times root 5. And this is a 2 times a 2 times a root 5. I can combine those, and that gives us 4 root 5. Now, there's a whole bunch of shortcuts all the way through here. You might have even come up with 16 times 5 gives me 80, and that would have given you a perfect square a little quicker. But again, it's more, it doesn't matter what you start with. The thing I want you to realize is that we can get to the answer regardless of how quick, or there's not like this perfect magical thing you have to do. You can get there as long as you follow some rules. Okay, so I'm going to kind of bring this back over because remember, we had this 5 that we had to think about. 5, and then root 80 simplified to 4 root 5. Now we've got this multiplication. That's what those parentheses mean, and I get 20 root 5. That's fully simplified because my outside is as combined as it can be, and my inside cannot be simplified anymore, meaning there's no perfect square inside.